welcome back to the channel and Volvo 480 on Junkendriven. Don't forget to check out our Facebook as well. I'll put a link in the description. Now I'm going to be taking a look at the interior. Hopefully I've solved a bit of the sound problems as well, so you will actually hear me over just wind noise from the last video. Sorry about that. So what I've found is inside the carpet and the sponges underneath, which are busy drying down here, are soaking wet, and so there's obviously water getting in somewhere. Now I did solve the where the water was coming in through the window, through the driver's window, but there must be another leak coming in. So what we've done is we've stripped the whole car down, just open that carefully, and taken all of the carpets out, all of the under pieces. So if you just take a look here, the passenger seat is actually just rested in there because I've got nowhere else to put it at the moment. But we've got both seats out and both bases. So I'll show you what we've been finding. This is the base. You can see that's one of the bolts that holds the seat in. You can see there's underfloor vents. They sort of go towards the back so that the back passengers get some sort of ventilation. And now down into the driver's footwell, and this is where the problem is. All down here was wet, and that was from water coming in somewhere. Now the carpet itself didn't seem to be wet, so I don't think water was coming in from the top here. Also, I think it would be more noticeable because of all the electrics and everything under here, and they don't seem to be damaged, or the wires haven't gone green, anything like that. So the theory that we're working to, I have to apologise, this is usual horrendous wobbly camera work. Under here you can see this plastic duct then goes back to the plastic airbox. You can just see the bolt that holds that together. Now, best guess is water is coming in to the ventilation system and it's leaking out and coming through here. That's the best guess anyway, because if I take you around the front and I show you where the ventilation system comes in, you'll see we've got a slight problem. This is where not having a gimbal shows. You're going to get some wobbly camera work today. I do like that automatic support bonnet lift. And what we've got is under the carrier bag, which I'll take out, you can see we go straight in to the ventilation system, and I think that's where the problem is. So whenever rainwater hits the top of here, it'll run down this channel and it's supposed to go out that plug there, but obviously that plug gets bunged up quite often. So I think rainwater will go straight down there and end up in the ventilation system inside. So what I'm trying to do is, first of all, plug this. There must be some sort of a plastic assembly missing. It wasn't with the car when I got it. No surprise there. So we'll put that tissue paper, and then I'll try and pack it back in again with a carrier bag to try and seal it off. And if we're lucky, that might stop the water getting in. If so, that would be really good that we've found where it was. Nothing much to worry about as far as I know. I would like to do the timing belt. You can see I've got the timing belt cover off. Would like to do the timing belt, but access looks really difficult down there. It's not going to be an easy one to get in there to lock it and to get that off, so I'm not sure about that one. Never done a timing belt before either. That one I'm a little bit nervous about doing, so might need to leave that one and perhaps get that booked in to do that. But of course that's a long way ahead yet. Moving through the rest of the car, the dashboard's all back together and in one piece. Can't guarantee how much of it actually works, but that's all intact. You can see I've taken the centre console out, that's so we could get the carpet out, and located the airbag sensor and equipment in the middle there, because of course this was quite an advanced car of its time, so it did have airbag, SRS and all that sort of stuff. Also taken all of the rear seats out. You can see I've piled everything back in at the moment. Rear seats out, also taken the access, that's the fuel pump in there, the fuel lift pump I should say, because to drop the tank we're going to need to disconnect that and disconnect the pipes. Now I seem to remember those pipes are quite tight and it's really difficult access in there, because I have of course replaced the fuel pump, as that was one of the first problems that I encountered when I got the car. And that was actually why it was in the garage and it had been left stored up, because I was quoted, or I was told, that it had a running problem, it wouldn't run, and the suspicion was the fuel pump. So the first thing I did when I got the car was I changed the fuel pump, because you can get those relatively cheap. I think I got one for £10 or £15 that someone was breaking another car, which was really good. Changed that, and of course it didn't make a difference. But if you recall, I then found out by taking it apart, you can just see the ignition, or the injector's ECU. It's a Bosch ECU unit, and that was fried. There was some quite bad electrical damage to it, and replacing that again, finding another one, getting it shipped, and that got the car running, so I was quite pleased with that. You can see all the connectors in there. That's for the rather fancy, again for its time. We have front electric windows and electric mirror adjustment as well, which is quite nice. And yep, all of those motors work apart from the driver's window. And you'll notice there is actually a complete lack of a mechanism. I took the mechanism out, the cable snapped. The motor does run though. By taking the carpet up as well, managed to find a few rust holes. Now all in all, these aren't too bad. If you look at the rest of the floor plan, it's actually in quite good shape. We haven't got any other major holes. Got a piece starting to rust a little bit there, that might just need cleaning up. And that hole could easily weld a small square and solve that as well. But the rest of the floor pan, when I had the passenger seat out, all looked fine. And if we go through to the boot, I'll show you what we've got there. So at the back of the car, rear axle is out and not in bad shape. Going to sand that down and coat it. And if we go in the boot, I replaced the boot struts, which is why the boot now opens properly on the gas assist. Need to do some work on the wiring, because this is one of the common problems where water comes in. So this wiring runs the heated rear window, high level brake light, so we'd have to get that working for an MOT, and the rear wiper as well. So going inside, you can see I've got the light panels apart. They all work fine, and we can see some quite major rust holes. Again, this is just floor pan, it's not structural. Underneath that is one of the cross beams, and the cross beam is solid, so it's just the floor pan. So again, cutting this out, welding a new square piece in. But to do that, the fuel tank sits just in front of this panel here, so the fuel tank is definitely going to have to come out before I do the welding, just for safety. And the rest of it's not too bad. We've got a few patches around the edges, but using the screwdriver test on most of the metal work, and the screwdriver's not going through it, so I think the main chassis isn't too bad at all, so I think it's definitely doable. A sad part about my attempted to slow down the rust here, this looks like it's worked quite well, no bubbling or anything, but unfortunately this piece, you can see I mustn't have got all of the rust away and converted. This is where I used the rust converter on this side, so this is going to need sanded down, rust converted, and then primered up again. So that's about where I'm up to on the Volvo project at the moment. Slowly improving, slowly getting some progress on it. We'll get the rust tackled and all those sort of things, and we'll see how we get on. So if you've enjoyed the video, please do put a like at the bottom and stay subscribed for some more of the car videos coming up, and thanks for watching.